even if we already RPC, we
Oh,
have
yes.
to redo it.
You have to redo it, you have to go get your signature. I think the maximum is like 10 or something in the past for your precinct. Now, the precinct boundaries have changed, so you need to look, like in my precinct, and Madison Park, mine was Country Club, and Madison Park were combined, it's now called Madison Park, so it's really 2 precincts in 1 now. So that's, you know, so you'll have to look, your boundaries might have changed. I think more so this time than in previous years, I think. So that's one thing you need to check. And so you need to check and see how many signatures are required. Usually at the most, say 10. You'd be safe to get 10.
Question, can you sign your own petition?
Yes.
Answer, yes.
First.
So now you're looking at 9. Have you got a wife or significant other? Look at you.
I have a mixed marriage, so.
What if she's registered Democrat?
So,
I would say no.
yeah, but
She isn't.
you need to find out, obviously, how many you're allotted in your precinct. You know, 10 is safe for signatures. I don't think there's any more that required than that, I don't think. And then you need to know what the filing deadline is, and I think it's near the end of May. I don't know the exact date, but
May 30th.
You think it's May 30th?
It is.
Okay.
That's when I have to have mine in too.
Good. Well, yeah, it's good for everybody. It's May 30th, so that's good.
Joe, is it going to change, like Palmcroft and Cano are going to be combined?
Yeah.
So Palmcroft in the old had 4,
Right.
and we had 3. So that would mean today, unless things change and take another census, is that would be 7 in the
Probably,
combined.
but you need to double check that, because it's better to make sure that it sounds like it will be 7, but, you know, they might have, you know, played around a little bit with lines, I don't know. So,
Got to remember the Democrats did this.
so well, they didn't do the precincts, but they did the legislative districts. You look at these maps, and I know, I mean, the party got really shafted by this. I just may use another word, but we're here in Canada.
Joe,
Yes.
that came up in an EGC meeting, and the prevailing thought was because for each precinct, regardless of the number of Republicans, you get a precinct committeeman.
Right.
So in the case of whether that would be 7 or not, there's one precinct, you know, chairman, you know, but
Precinct captain.
yeah, so that would only be a net gain of 5, as people thought, because you'd lose one when you amalgamate the precincts. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, it could be. And that's why you have to check on the list. There's a list that the party would have, and we passed it out 2 years ago, of looking at your precinct, of what your allotment is, how many precinct committeemen, and your required signatures. And that's going to be, in a precinct, a large precinct is going to require more signatures than a smaller precinct. So you'll have to check and see how many signatures, but if I remember correctly last time, if you had 10, you were safe.
And we'll have all that information for you at our next meeting.
This is good, yeah. We should you'll have that to the next meeting, that's good. For instance, this is the old one.
Yes.
Yeah. So like my precinct country club, quota was 4 precinct committeemen that were filled and no vacancies. And I remember at the time we required 8 signatures 2 years ago. So you'll get that, and so you'll look at your precinct, and you know there's the maps there too, so you can look and see what your precinct is. And as you see, our new district, new district takes in most of old 15, a little 14, a few areas here of 11. And a few areas of 17 over here that used to be Tempe, the district.
That's a bunch of 17.
Yeah, several precincts, that's right. So it's going to be in a large district from what we have now, but all the districts will be enlarged. I think
Is that online?
Oh, yes. You go to the so-called Independent Redistricting Commission, and you go to your website, and they have all the maps right there to look at.
I believe it's on the recorder's site too. You can go to redistricting.
Oh, the recorder site, that's right, they would have it there
And
too.
it does say it's not official yet, so.
Right, it isn't. It has to be cleared to justice. I doubt if Obama would play around with this, because the Democrats couldn't do a better map than this.
That's right.
So I doubt it very seldom. You're not going to see the Justice Department play around with it. Our only hope is to go to court, and that's a slim chance. There are problems with it. Lack of community of interest is a major factor. I mean, having Anthem and Prescott together is ridiculous. But anyway.
Would it be helpful to anybody or everybody if I had that big map, and I was going to bring it today, of the precinct, but I didn't do it? If I would leave it down here, would it be helpful enough for people to come by and kind of take a look at it? That way you wouldn't, have to do anything. Okay, I'll try to be here by tomorrow, but for sure it'll be here Monday morning.
Big man of what?
Could we get some
The
copies?
big map of the precinct, so they can see where their precinct is by street, rather than look at the map.
Ed, could we take a little of the money from the treasury and make small copies of the new district lines?
Sure.
Huh?
Although,
And take the map you have and reduce it down to a size that, say,
Hang on.
8 by 11.
Custom make a subset?
I would recommend we wait until it's,
To elect delegates to the state convention and elect delegates to the national convention. As you know, we had a primary, and Romney won the primary, and the statute says that the delegates on the first ballot that are elected out of the state convention will have to make a best faith effort to vote for Romney because he won the thing. I don't know if it's a hard and fast mandatory vote. It's never really been tested. In the past, our main conventions have always, by that time, and the time we got to the convention, the nominating process was over with, and we had a nominee de facto, and so there was not a real issue. Though, for instance, in 2008, McCain won the primary. In 2000, McCain won the primary as well, and he let the delegation, release the delegation to vote for Bush at the convention. Until that time, all the people that were elected were kind of pledged to go vote for McCain on the first ballot. And this was 2000 against Bush. So what the procedure is, that we go in our district caucuses in April, and we were talking about it April 12th or whatever you said.
which is a Thursday, right?
It's a Thursday.
So we're going to have 2 meetings in April. We're going to have the April 12th caucus, then we're going to have a regular meeting.
Yeah, either way you can want to do it, or combine them. You could do them, combine them if you want to do it.
I'm not sure we'll have time, because there's a lot of other candidates who would like to come in.
Oh, I see. Well, that's up to,
And
it don't have to
vote
be
on it,
combined, it
we're
could be
done.
a separate deal. But anyway, only precinct committeemen that were elected at the last time, or appointed by December 31, this past December 31, they're on the books as a precinct committeeman, can vote in this district caucus election. And they all have to be, the dates have to be into the state, because they have to publish them in a newspaper and all that, all the different dates. So so only those people can vote. And we're allotted, I think, if I remember correctly, I saw a thing today, 15 delegates and 15 alternates. And so we elect, in our law of election, at that meeting, say it's the 12th, 15 delegates to go to the state convention and 15 alternates. You can do it a lot of different ways. You elect your 15 delegates and the top 15 vote getters, and then the next 15 could be the alternates. You probably do it that way. I don't see why not. And save
You're the
an extra ballot.
parliamentarian.
Yeah.
You're going to do it.
Yes.
Is that just of District 15?
Yes, just 15. Every district will meet separately at different times, and so that's how it's done. And there's nominations from the floor, and no proxies are allowed in this, anywhere during the process. I'm pretty sure of that. Just for these type of convention, because the RNC rules do not allow for proxies at any stage of the process. Yeah.
you know where it's going to be, Joe? Do we have any idea?
Where the state
State
meetings-
convention?
Yeah.
It's going to be at Grand Canyon University.
May 12th. May 12th, Saturday, I believe. And Grand Canyon University is Camelback and
34th.
30, yes, 30-something Avenue or something.
Probably be in the new arena. It's
Yes, the
about
new arena.
4,500.
Exactly, it's a big, big place. It's gonna be real nice. It's a nice setting for
Brand new
it.
arena.
And so all those who are elected at our district meeting will go to the state convention. And at the state convention on May 12th, we would elect 29 delegates and 29 alternates to go back to Tampa for the national convention. Now, ordinarily, we're allotted 58, but we're going to be penalized because our meeting was before March 1. And even though our statute had February 28th, and we had February 28th before that, so we weren't penalized then. But these new cockamamie rules, in my opinion, all this proportional voting is dragging out the whole process, and in my opinion, hurting the party, regardless of who you forward, is that's what we got. I think they'll change and realize that that's not going to work in the future, but that's just my own opinion. In any event, so those folks at the state meeting will vote for so many at large, and then 3 from each congressional district. And because we're hoping we're going to have a legal challenge, I had a meeting today with the state party chairman and some other folks, we may, depending on how the governor feels or whatever, there may be a lawsuit, to try to restore our half delegate, or half that is being removed. And I won't get into the legal niceties of that, but that's something that they're looking at. There's nothing definite. But I think you're going to see, like in past years, that the Romney people and the state party and other grassroots people will try to get together and come up with a common slate for delegates and alternates. That's been the way they've done that in 2008. They've done that every time I've been involved for 35 years. That's the way it was done. Now, not everyone on that slate gets elected, but every presidential candidate that is the nominee, in this case, who has carried this state, has some say in the delegates, but also needs to work with the state party, because if they don't, and quite frankly, you're not going to be able to elect their state. I mean, there's the grassroots folks that are going to vote for who they vote for, and sometimes if they don't feel there's a buy-in, then everyone working together. Now, remains to be seen if this is going to work out this year or not. You've got people that are for Santorum and Gingrich or Paul that are not going to necessarily accept the results of the primary, and they're going to try to elect their own people. And that's, you might see 3 or 4 different slates out there. And that happens too sometimes. Not 3 or 4 usually, but it could happen this time. But that's, that's inside baseball. That's something down the road, but none of us really can control at this point. And there'll be an open nominating process where anyone who wants to be a delegate or an alternate will put their name in, and they'll be on the ballot. They've always done that every 4 years, and they'll do that again. So everyone who wants to be on the ballot can be in advance to be printed up. So who's interested in running. So that's something that they've always done, and they'll do that again this time. Yeah.
First, we're going to have a caucus here on Saturday. You say it's Saturday? April the 12th?
Yes, whatever.
It's not a Saturday, it's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday. I wanted to keep it on a Thursday night for job-type situation.
And then the state will be at Grand Canyon.
Yes.
Right. At what address? Some of the people.
Yeah, I don't have the exact addresses. Around 30th Avenue and Camelback.
33rd and Camelback,
Somewhere.
West Camelback.
Yeah.
It covers a lot of space. You're on Camelback Road and you see 35th up there a ways.
You've gone too far.
You'll see it covering lots of space on the right
Great
side.
facility.
You can't miss it. It's
Not
on
on a
the
train.
north
It's
side.
on the north side of the street, I believe.
Big signs, yeah.
But,
Can't miss it.
yeah, so it's a fun time to participate and get involved. The only difference this year, which is unique, is that the party, I think, is planning to elect not only the 29 delegates, 29 alternates, we're going to be A delegates, but also going to elect the B delegates, 29 large Bs, and also in the congressional district, so that in case we are allotted our full allotment at the convention, which sometimes they'll do that. A lot of times the nominee, if it's already done, they'll say, oh, let everyone vote, and don't penalize anybody. They've done that before many a time. In this case, or if we win a lawsuit that forces them to allow us, and we have, there's a decent case. But the problem is, people are going to be maybe elected B, but there's no guarantee they'll be seated. And of course, everyone pays for their own anyway. But the only thing I think they're going, my understanding is, they're going to allow the Bs, even if they get seated, to have a guest pass at least anyway. Because else none of the Bs would even go if they didn't have guaranteed at least to get in and be somewhere in the arena. So I think the party understands that, and they were talking about that today. So anyway, any other, are you kind of clear on the general procedure? Yeah.
All right, so for re-clarification for me at least,
yeah.
So in April we elect state delegates to go to Grand Canyon University.
Yes, right.
Grand Canyon University, those delegates will elect who's going to Tampa.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's been that way from way before we've had a primary here. That's a recent development. We've always had a caucus system.
Joe, how many conventions have you been to as a delegate?
Oh, I've been to five of them. I've been on the original. I've been counsel for a lot of years, and they wanted me to be on the Rules Committee, and you have to be a delegate to be on the Rules Committee at the convention. In fact, you have to be a delegate to be on any of the different committees or credentials and whatever, arrangements committees and so forth. So,
but you have to be a PC from past December or the September election to vote.
yes,
You have
in
to
order
be
to
a
vote at this. Now, you do not have to be a precinct committee. I mean, this is a good point to raise and neglected to. You could, only a precinct committeeman elected or appointed by 31 could vote in this caucus on April 12th. But you could theoretically vote for someone and elect someone
Who is not a
who is not a precinct.
There
Okay?
you go, guys.
And also, that goes for at the state meeting. You don't have to be a precinct committeeman to be elected to go to national either.
So if he wants to go to Tampa, he possibly could if he puts his name in.
Now, I don't know whether you mentioned this or not, but you got to pay your own freight.
Oh yeah, and it's like very expensive. I can't. I'm trying to see the airfare is. I looked the other day. The airfare is going to be like right now. It'll be more by the time of the election, but it's going to be like $450 round trip if you get a good. Gets the cheapest fare, and then the hotel room, which is more expensive. You probably, depending on where we're allocated, is going to be 150 at least 200 maybe a night. You could share rooms with. I remember one year I had 4 or 5 people. We all were in mattresses and we shared rooms and kept the cost down. So that's. I think the hotels even going to end up being more expensive for you than the plane fare. Then you have most meals. Some meals are paid for, but most of them aren't. And all the other expenses, beverages, food, other.
It's party time.
Party time. It's fun. It's a great experience, and I wish everyone had the opportunity to do so. But it's not cheap. I have to admit that.
You can put in from some stimulus money from Mr. Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. People attempt at humor.
A green energy. Yeah.